So, are you a mama to be? Maybe brand new mama to be, first little one on the way, or maybe you already have one or two or three or four, but you have another one joining the ranks. Today's podcast is going to be where we talk about one of the most important things, healthy pregnancies. Focusing on your own health as a mom. I'm excited to share a little bit about my personal journey and give you some tips and insights that have helped me through when I was going through that, having my little one. Whether you're a seasoned health nut or maybe you're just starting to think about, okay, what are some healthy choices that I can really make sure to implement throughout this pregnancy? This podcast is going to be for you. So sit back, relax, and get ready to learn about how doubling down on your own health can lead to a healthier pregnancy and a happier, healthier baby as well. Hi, I'm Jenna, and I'm always rambling. Just ask my husband. I have a great family and a pretty cool life, but I'm a recovered alcoholic. That's hard to say. But my goal is to inspire and educate to help others hopefully find life beyond an addiction. I'm all things: sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Getting healthy, momming, and politics. Get offended easily? You better stop listening. There is no point in wasting that Botox by stressing yourself out listening to a podcast. Welcome to Ramblings of an Addict with Jenna Dix. Today's episode brought to you by products and services that I'm thoroughly addicted to. Do you know what's worse than a root canal on a Monday morning? Dealing with insurance headaches as an entrepreneur. That's why Cheryl LaBonte with Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to make your insurance journey smooth as butter. As a small business owner, you've got enough on your plate. Let Cheryl handle your small business, disability, life, and health insurance needs so you can focus on your passion. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out, Cheryl's kind and helpful nature will ensure you receive the best service possible. And if you think insurance is boring, think again. Cheryl's expertise and knowledge will help you navigate the confusing world of insurance with ease. So don't wait until it's too late. Contact Cheryl LaBonte with Farm Bureau Financial Services today and experience the peace of mind that comes with being properly insured. It's your future. Let's protect it. Check the show notes to get Cheryl's contact information and don't wait another day. Hello and welcome to today's podcast. Thank you so much for popping in, taking a listen, and spending this time with me today. Make sure that if you have yet to follow or subscribe to the podcast, that you do so. I can see that the downloads of this podcast are super impressive. I am so incredibly thankful and grateful for the amount of people who are spending time listening to these. Honestly, it makes my heart smile. But just make sure that you are subscribed or following, depending on what platform you're listening to, because number one, that way it automatically downloads the podcast to your phone, your iPad, or whatever you're listening on, right? It automatically downloads it automatically. So if I upload a new podcast, it downloads on your end. So you don't even have to think about it. Oh, I need to go in and see if Jenna's done another podcast. No, you don't. Because if I did, it's automatically downloading to your device. In addition, I'll be transparent. If you follow or subscribe to the show, it helps the algorithm. And I think anybody that understands social media, even a fraction, we know that the algorithm is kind of the magic. We want to make sure we're kind of working with the algorithms because that helps make sure these messages are getting spread further. And to be honest, I love doing this podcast because even if I am a quarter step ahead of someone else, I want to make sure that I'm spreading my tips and my support to help those people behind me so that they don't have to have struggles that I may have experienced, or maybe some of the tips that I have are going to help you. So make sure that you are subscribed and following. This is going to be a great podcast to share with any of your fellow mom friends, especially if the family is growing. This would be a great one to share in moms groups, things of that sort. So I highly encourage, please feel free to share this episode. Like I said, this is going to be a good one for the moms. All right. I'm taking a minute to pop on to share this knowledge. This has been an episode that's been on my heart for a while. And truth be told, I keep telling myself, I need to do that because, my little is 3.5. So when I was going through pregnancy, when I first started, right, that was like 4 years ago. And there's days that I'm like, crap, what did I eat for breakfast when I'm entering my food in my tracker, right? Trying to remember stuff 4 years ago can get a little fuzzy. So the sooner I get this episode out, the better off we're going to be. And it gives me a good reason to take a pause on spring cleaning. That is what our family is doing this weekend. Not super exciting, but it's something that we do on the regular. I actually might do a podcast on that in the future because I am super anal about cleaning in the aspect of like purging and full out kind of cleaning and hitting the house hard twice a year. We clean on the regular, dust, vacuum, that kind of good jazz, right? But twice a year, we go through everything and we purge stuff. And it's just a good way to kind of keep on top of stuff. Everything is kind of cleaned out. You don't have to worry about, what's behind there? Well, we know because we clean it like every 6 months. So I might do a podcast on that at some point. If that's something that you would like, let me know. But with that, I'm going to jump right in. If I take too much time away from spring cleaning, my family's going to start to slack. So, today, like I said, I want to talk about maternal health and why it's so important to double down on our healthy habits when we are pregnant. There's a few reasons, right? So, first and foremost, you want to be healthy, right? Typically, most females, we do want to be healthier. We want to take care of ourselves. We know the value in that. The diet industry, the fitness industry, the health industry would not be making the crazy amounts of money that they do if we didn't see the value in solid health. But when we are pregnant with a baby, I honestly think, personally, my opinion, and I'm sure many people would agree, it is so much more important. Because what you are doing is going to impact that baby. And if you're taking care of your health, a lot of times solid health for the baby is going to come hand in hand. In addition, if you're taking care of yourself, you're going to be not only stronger physically, which is going to be great for the entire pregnancy, it's going to be great for the labor, but you're also going to be at a better strength level mentally and emotionally. And for any of you that have already gone through it, pregnancy, labor, postpartum, it's a total workout in itself, a mind workout, a physical workout, and being at our strongest is so flipping helpful. Another reason is there are stats out there that have proven that if you are taking care of yourself and you are on the healthier side of things, less labor complications arise. So that's a good perk in itself. Healthcare has come a long way. We definitely don't see the, loss of mothers through labor or through pregnancy like we used to. But why not continue to combat that by taking care of ourselves as well? And finally, if you are taking care of yourself, you are on the healthier side. When baby does join us in this world, you are going to be able to care for that baby better because you are at a stronger level. So, like I said, today is going to be about tips, tricks, strategies that I not only have learned through my coaching and through coaching different females going through this, but I went through this firsthand myself. I'm blessed with one. I've had one little one myself. I have my bonus daughter as well. Obviously, I didn't go through that journey with her, but I did go through it with Mac. So I learned firsthand some tips and strategies as well. So not only stuff that, I've learned it from the books and I've helped clients with it, but I've also learned tips and strategies through personal firsthand experience. And I can tell you, my story when it comes to being healthier focused is definitely still far from perfect. But overall, I was actually more on track with my health and wellness than I was even before I got pregnant. I was pretty stellar before. I was a health coach already at that point. But in the introduction, I said doubling down on health and wellness. Yeah, I truly did. I lived that mindset. And today, let's dive into just a few different topics regarding how can we take better care of our health, right? And I think the first big one that I want to attack is nutrition. When you get pregnant, and we've all heard this, oh, you're eating for two. And so many moms I've seen literally think that they're eating for two, or at least they give themselves that pass. Oh, I'm eating for two. I can eat all this. Truth be told, check, and I'm going to put this caveat over the whole episode, but make sure you're chatting with your doctor about all your health and wellness pieces, because obviously you want the doctor's stamp of approval. I obviously was in close communication with my own doctor, but it was kind of nice because she knew what I did for a career. She gave me more leeway. She was very trusting that I knew what I was doing. And I think, health coach or not, mama, you know your body better than anybody. Do what you feel is going to be best, right? I've had some people come to me and they're, oh, my doctor said I had to stop working out. And I'm like, oh, okay. Is there complications? Is there worry? Oh, no, they just said it's really bad. Oh, okay. If there's something that you're like, okay, that seems odd, please go get second opinions from another healthcare professional, whether it's an OBGYN or maybe a midwife or somebody of that sort that has that 100% expertise. All right. But first, diving into, like I said, the nutrition, I was saying, you are not technically eating for two in the aspect of, okay, I get, 1,900 calories and baby gets 1,900 calories. You are not eating for two like that. No, it doesn't work that way. Usually what they say is roughly 300-ish extra calories. And that can, ebb and flow. I remember there was points where my doctor upped mine a little bit when I wasn't growing as fast as I needed to be. There were times that I know I've had friends that have had theirs docked. But on average, what they say is roughly estimating in your head, okay, I get 300 extra calories daily. The best way, like I said, doctors keeping an eye on what your weight gain is looking like, how your stomach is growing, things of that sort. And as long as your doctor is good at what they do, they can help work with you to make sure, okay, we might need to scale things back. We might need to bump things up. I remember when my doctor and I, I'll get to this probably in a little bit too, but I remember when my doctor was like, okay, Jenna, you need more protein because I can't even remember. Oh, that's when my syncope. So, a little piece that I don't even know if I've ever shared it on the podcast, but I have what they call syncope. Basically what that means is I pass out and they have no real explanations of why. I've done it since I was a little kid, but when I was pregnant, it kind of upticked a little bit. And she was like, okay, first thing you need to do every day is have some protein, stabilize your sugars, stabilize your body overall. So, the doctors typically are the ones that are really going to help you customize your nutrition. Fingers crossed. If you're like, okay, my doctor is a wackadoodle, they are not helping me. Like I said, second opinions. Please trust your gut. You are in the driver's seat of your health. Always, always, always remember that. Another one, I know you're pregnant. You've seen everyone say it. You've seen other people live it. But that is not a pass to eat whatever you want. I honestly remember I actually was better about that when I was pregnant, being like, oh, shoot, yes, I really want XYZ, but does the baby need that? No, she doesn't. So I'm not going to eat it. There were so many days that I'm just like, I just want junk, or I just want carbs, or I just want macaroni or peanut butter and jelly. And there were some times, that I'd go eat that stuff. But then there's more times that I'm like, no, my baby needs fresh veggies. She needs fruit. She needs, solid protein and healthy grains. Keep that in the back of your mind. Does my baby need XYZ? Does my baby need Reese's peanut butter cups for breakfast? Does my baby need soda pop? Keep that question flowing freely. And then my last thing, and like I said, talk to your doctor. But what my doctor and I talked about was, so my husband and his family, they have a ton of food allergies. Haley, my bonus daughter, she's allergic to peanuts. Mike's family, a lot of them, they are allergic to peanuts. Mike got blessed. He's not allergic to peanuts, but he's allergic to every other nut. He's also allergic to any type of fish or seafood. He's allergic to certain raw vegetables. The list goes on and on for this family, right? And I was really worried, because I don't have any. Knock on wood, I don't have any allergies. And I'm like, I don't want my daughter to have to deal with all these allergies because I watch my family struggle. And I can't even imagine what it's like when they are younger, right? So I talked to my doctor and she was like, okay, what we're going to do is ensure when you're pregnant that you're eating a ton of that stuff. So I ate a ton of fish. I ate a ton of peanut butter. I ate a ton of mixed nuts. I ate a ton of raw veggies. Things that gave my family issues, I ate frequently, hoping that, it's crossing the barrier and that she was getting some of those nutrients. Well, obviously she's getting the nutrients, but I was hoping that she would grow, if there was a potential for an allergy, that she would grow immune or something. And thanks be to God, my daughter, as far as we know still, and she's pretty much ate everything under the sun at this point, 3 years later, has 0 allergies. So we are incredibly blessed in that regard. And I do think there might be, it's a mix of, I ate a ton when I was pregnant, and we actually, all those allergy foods, this is fast forward a little bit, but those were the foods that we were introducing to her very early. I mean, I remember her being 6 months old and I was feeding her powdered peanut butter in her baby cereal just to ensure, okay, let's check. Let's see if she's allergic. Obviously, even that, that was under doctor's orders. We had strict protocols we were following, but I do think eating that kind of stuff when I was pregnant helped. So if you have a ton of allergies in your family, talk to your doctor, see what they say. Maybe you could do something similar, and hopefully if that is what helped Mac, maybe it'll help with your family situation as well. The next piece I wanted to talk about is exercise. Again, right? Covering my butt legally as a health coach because that's what we got to do, but talk to your doctor. 100%. There might be some restrictions that they offer if they feel like, okay, this is so over the top or this seems so old school, get a second opinion. But typically a doctor is going to encourage you, heck yeah, get your booty moving, get some exercise going, strengthen those muscles, get that heart rate going a little bit. I remember some specific restrictions, I want to say it was 155. I could not get my heart rate over 155. So I remember, I got pregnant with Mac in April. And it was July. So I think I just hit my second try. And we were on a run, July 4th weekend, Mike and I were running. And I remember I was like, we maybe went a half of a block, maybe. And I looked down at my watch and I'm like, shit. 155. I'm like, we gotta walk. I can't run anymore. I hit my point. No more running. But it is super important to get that movement in. I actually instructed. So when I got pregnant, I was already a fitness instructor. I was teaching Insanity Live classes, and I continued. I instructed Insanity Live until I was 8 months pregnant. I watched my heart rate the whole time. I took more breaks than my class did. I couldn't jump as high once my belly got a little bit bigger because I was like, I'm going to pee in my leggings. And there were certain moves. So I think it was third trimester is when my doctor was like, okay, no more with how my placenta was. She said, okay, no more doing moves on your back. You can't lay down anymore. So any moves that were down on the floor, lying on my back, I would use one of my people in class as my demonstrator, and I would like squat down and show what the move looked like by using this person as an example. But I still continued to work out. I worked out until the day before she was born, 3 days before she was born. Because the last couple days I cleaned my house like a fiend. Because I was like, I don't know when the next time I'm going to be able to do this is. But I worked out basically until she was born. And honestly, this helped my labor. I'm so grateful. I swear this is what helped my labor be so much easier, which I'll get into that in a little bit. But my muscles were stronger than the everyday person. On top of that, I also knew what my muscles were. So when they were telling me to flex certain things or to push on certain areas, like I knew how to engage those muscles. Like one nurse actually commented on that later. Cause she like rattled off a term. Can I remember now what it was? No, I was in a fog at that moment. But all I remember, she came up to me after and she was like, whenever I tell people to squeeze that certain spot, like they can't do it. She's like, you being able to do that really did help the situation. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, that was helpful then. But the funny thing as well is I swear this is also what has helped McKenna be so fucking strong. Because like I said, I worked out until she was almost born. And when that kid came out, she was a beast. I am not joking. She was laying on my chest, on her belly. She lifted her head and looked around the room, and one of the nurses looked and goes, oh, she's not supposed to do that, and she pushed her head back down. And she's been lifting her head since day one. She's had little pipes. I mean, she is a beast, always has been. I remember her being 1.5 years and lugging a 15-pound dumbbell across the gym floor, which, of course, I took away. I put up. I was like, no, that's insane. You are 25 pounds. You cannot be pulling that at this point. But I do feel that me working out the entire time did help her gain strength. I don't know. You call me crazy, but that's my guess as her mom. All right. The next piece. If you are doubling down on your health as mom, your mental health is a big component. Because here's the deal. If you are not taking care of yourself mentally and emotionally, you can impact baby in the belly. So when you're stressed out, when you're letting things impact you in a negative way, your hormones typically spike in not a good way, right? And high cortisol levels, cortisol is the stress hormone basically, right? So just keep that in mind. So, okay, the stress hormone, it can cross the placenta. So baby is feeling that. They're feeling more stressed out because mommy is more stressed out. So we want to do our absolute best to keep that baby chilling by keeping ourselves chill. Is it always going to be easy? Oh, good Lord, no. Full transparency, my parents had separated the year before. We are still trying to, anybody who's gone through a divorce, like, it's a journey, right? And especially for the kids. And then you add on that the kids are in their 30s and the mom and the dad are both excited that they have their first grandbaby on the way. There was a lot of stress. But I just kept reminding myself, and I don't even remember who sent it to me. I think it was an aunt. Sent me a picture one day about how to make sure baby was, what I'm feeling, baby's feeling. And it was just a simple message from her. And I'm like, okay, keep remembering that. When I'm feeling, she's feeling. When I'm feeling, she's feeling. And it truthfully was helpful to kind of keep myself in check. So not only is it crossing the placenta, but if you're not taking good care of yourself mentally and emotionally, it's going to impact how you're handling the pregnancy in itself. Because pregnancy is fucking hard. Oh my goodness, my belly's growing. My sciatica is freaking hurting. I have to pee every 2 seconds. My leg is throbbing. I have no balance. My boobs hurt, right? Like trying to handle all that mentally is a lot. And then if your mental health, your emotional health is not doing well, that's not going to be much easier, right? It's going to just make it that much harder. Add on, okay, you get through the pregnancy, the baby comes. If your mental health is not doing well, it could impact how you bond with the baby. Because either A, you're now, honestly, I wish somebody had prepared me mentally for how I was going to be a wreck the next few days after she was born. Oh, I think honestly that was the biggest surprise for me as a mom. I didn't expect to feel like a fucking disaster the first few days after she was born. Emotionally, I was like a wreck, and I didn't know why, and I couldn't control it. And if I hadn't gone into that mentally strong already, I don't think I could have bonded with her nearly as much as I did. So I honestly think that's going to be the key. You need to take care of your mental and your emotional health. If you're at a point you're like, okay, I'm trying, number one, make sure you're putting up boundaries with people. Because the only person that matters is you now and that baby. Okay, that was a little drastic. There's still other people that matter, but you get where I'm going. You know what? If people are crossing your boundaries and they're stressing you out and they're making your mental health a disaster, throw that boundary up. Protect that baby. Protect yourself. If you need to, incorporate professionals, pastors, counselors, coaches. Get those people in your corner. And that actually builds right into my next piece. So building that very solid support network is going to be key for the entire pregnancy. It honestly is going to help your health by miles. It's going to help so much. So, number one, piggybacking right on that last point, the mental health. It's going to help your emotional and your mental health. If you have solid people in your corner rooting you on, you know you can rely on them. You know you can lean on them. It's shoulders to cry on. It's people to pick you up when you're down in the dumps. It's people to tell you, you don't look fat today. Don't cry, right? Or a complete opposite. I had a best friend and it just made me laugh. Wow, you're getting fat. It was a joke. And some people were like, I remember my husband, he actually heard my buddy say that and he goes, oh my God, did he just say that to you? And I was like, yeah. And I'm laughing. I'm like, I don't even care. I think it's hilarious because you know what? I am getting big and it's because I'm growing a baby and I don't even care. But okay. So not only, like I said, mental and emotional support, in addition, having a solid support network, they're going to be able to help you with logistics pieces. Like, hey, when I get so big, the doctor cut me off. I can't lift super heavy stuff. Can you come over and help me, set up the nursery because I physically cannot do it? Or, hey, sweetheart, my belly's so big, I can't tie my shoes. Can you tie my shoes for me? Right? We're going to need them for those logistical pieces. In addition, maybe helping you either A, go to a doctor's appointment for multiple reasons. Maybe you don't want to drive there, or maybe you're not feeling good, or maybe you just need a support, right? For me personally, and I shared earlier, I have syncope. I knew as soon as I got pregnant, that was one thing my doctor and I talked about. She's like, okay, we're really going to have to keep an eye on your syncope because we don't know how this pregnancy, since it's your first one, is going to impact that. I'm like, okay. So as soon as I got pregnant, we were a type of family, we decided we weren't going to tell anyone until we had told Haley. And we were not going to tell Haley until we hit second trimester, just for safety reasons, because if we lost the baby, we didn't want her to have to go through that I'm trying to remember. She was 11 at the time. We didn't want her to have to go through that. But we did tell my dad. Reason being was because at the time Mike was working downtown Minneapolis. We lived in a suburb, and we're, on a good day, we're like 40 minutes out from where he was working. And if I had an episode or anything happen, we wanted somebody closer. So we told my dad. And I flat out told him, I said, the only reason you know is if anything happens and I need you. He said, okay. Or in addition, there was a day that, so after Mac had her 20-week ultrasound, and we found out it was a girl. We're all excited. And the next day I get a phone call from the doctor, and she's like, so we're looking at the ultrasound, and it shows that the baby could potentially have lesions on her brain, which indicate that she has a brain tumor. So I am a fucking wreck. And she's like, we need to get you in here, and you need to have some labs pulled. And I'm like, okay. I couldn't drive. My husband, like I said, was in Minneapolis. They needed me in there within the next hour. And at that point, we had told everybody. And I called my mom, and I'm like, I need you to drive me to the doctor. I'm like, I cannot stop crying. I was like, I just need you to be with me. So having those people there for you for stuff like that, in addition to an amazing partner, right, is super helpful. And obviously, fast forward that story real quick, God was with her. God knows her story already, but God was with her because my girl came out perfectly healthy. So we are thankful every day for Macadoodle. All right, with tears in my eyes. In addition to that, tell your friends, tell those people that if anything hard happens, that they will have your back, they will support you, that they will help you no matter what happens. So tell those people that will love on you. This is kind of merging two things together. So that mental health piece with the boundaries, but also that support network. Same thing in the regards of, if you feel like, hey, there's also people that I don't really want in my support network, or I just know mentally that it's probably not going to be the best if they are there trying to support me in this certain situation, set that boundary. And you can do it bluntly, or you can tell other people so that way you don't even have to deal with it. Please know that you have that permission, because your job as mommy is to protect baby. And if you setting a boundary with someone, saying, I can't have them in my support network for XYZ situation or at this time or whatever it looks like, you are doing what's best for you and for baby. In addition, so actually, thinking, okay, baby is on the way or baby is here, that support network needs to continue. Okay. So make sure that you talk to your family, to your friends about, when baby's coming or when baby's here, can I rely on you? And set those things up. So for example, I had one best friend, she flew up, so I was induced. So it was a scheduled thing, for McKenna's health. She'd actually run out of space and my abdomen would not separate. So they had to induce so that she didn't get hurt or it didn't cause any health complications on her. So they had to induce me. So my best friend from Texas, we planned it. So she flew up here, I think 2 days later is when we planned it for. So she flew up and she was here for me through the labor, which was awesome because I had my husband on one side and I had my best friend on the other. And the cool thing is my best friend is also a health coach. So she has that backing where, we know how to motivate, we know how to support, but she's also a physical trainer. So, it was just nice to have that expertise on one side. And then another best friend, she flew up right after McKenna was born, and she stayed with us for about a week right after. So yes, I did the momming thing, and I bonded, and I nursed her, and I took care of her, but It was also really important that mommy sleep right away a little bit too, because you just went through a big trauma. So my best friend was here to help me, Mike, and Mac get through those first few days. And honestly, that was a God wink, because when I had Mac 2 days later, I was not, so I had her. I'm exhausted. I'm beat to hell. I don't feel good. And I thought it was normal. So I go to the doctor for Mac for her 3-day appointment. And as I'm there, my doctor's like, you are not looking good. I'm like, I feel like shit. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to run a few tests. I'm like, okay. Well, mommy had influenza B. So despite having the flu shot that year, because I was like, oh, let's protect baby. You know, that's when I was like, okay, I'll do whatever they say. I got the flu. So I'm dealing with battling influenza and having a brand new baby. So I was super grateful that Deb was here to help me through everything and help me with nursing and things of that sort. Have someone there to help you. You are not a superhero. You don't need to be a superhero. Build that support network. All right. I'll step off my soapbox now. All right. So my last kind of piece that I wanted to talk about. All these things that you've now been focusing on for 40 weeks-ish, are all coming together, not only for a healthy mommy, a healthy baby, but also coming together to help you have a healthier, hopefully smoother birth. So a couple things I just wanted to talk about with this. So first and foremost, talk to your doctor, right? They'll guide you on how to create a birth plan, things of that sort. I'll be transparent. I think my birth plan was like 5 points long. Like, it was super short. I was like, I don't want to make it overcomplicated. I don't want it to stress me out. I don't want it to stress my doctors out. It's just going to be very bare bones-ish. And it was like little things like, I created a 3 strikes rule. I said, you know what? If I'm in pain, I want to have to say it like 3 times, like, I'm fucking hurting before you give me an epidural. Like, I know I'm physically strong. I know I'm mentally strong. 3 strikes. Okay. My next one was absolutely no laughing gas, no more of the narcotic type of painkillers, because I do have, right, an addiction background. And on top of that, I wanted to make sure I was not fuzzy for the birth of my daughter. If that's your thing, you're like, I did laughing gas. It worked really slick for me. Awesome. I'm so glad you found what worked for you. And that's what it's about. I just knew with my addiction background, I was like, I don't want to mess with any of that shit. Nope. I did an epidural, and that was it. And I was perfect with that. But the key with it too, so if you do create a birthing plan, maybe yours is really intense, and it works for you, cool. Just remember, that is where a solid mental and emotional health can also support you, because let's say your birth plan goes out the window, or there's really key points that you were hoping for and they don't go as you'd planned. Having solid mental health and emotional health is going to help you navigate that, hopefully a little bit better, because we could write the best plan ever for a birth, and the only one that knows how it's going to go is God. He could take your plan and smile at you and say, oh, sweetheart, you wrote a beautiful plan, but it's not going to go that way at all. And that's okay. Another piece with the birth is, like I said, right? If you're taking care of yourself, if you're making sure you're focusing on those pieces we've talked about, you are going to have more strength physically, mentally, and emotionally, and more endurance for the actual labor itself. Like I said, I personally think that my workouts not only helped me with, the strength piece, knowing my muscles well, having that endurance, but I think it also gave me a perspective of, hey, some pain is okay. Being uncomfortable doesn't have to be something you're scared of or something that you completely shy away from. And what I'm meaning with that is, okay, so when baby's coming, and this may get a little graphic, I don't know, not too bad, but when the baby was coming, so I remember them being like, okay, she's crowning, okay, all right, her head is out. So I'm like, okay, her head is out. And my instant reaction was, okay, this is kind of an uncomfortable feeling. I literally had a baby like halfway out of my body. And I wanted to push and get the rest out, like instant, immediate, impulse, right? Push it out. And they're like, Jenna, you cannot push right now. You need to wait because you will tear if you push right now. And I remember like having to stop and tell myself, okay, just stop. And it was so uncomfortable, so much pressure. It was such an awkward, icky, weird feeling. But I'm like, okay, I can do this. Like if I can hold a fucking squat lunge, or if I can do, if I can do all those other things that were very uncomfortable and I pushed through and I told myself I can fucking do it, I can fucking do this too. So I truthfully do think not only is it physically going to help you, you will mentally be able to deal with it a little bit better as well. So, my doctors have always joked, don't ever tell anybody your birthing story because they will hate you. And maybe, I don't know. So like I said, I had to get induced because of the space issue. I remember, so my water broke at 4 a.m. They started the induction the day before at noon. So I'm at the hospital from noon. Actually, I got there at 7 in the morning, but there was a snowstorm, of course, because I live in Minnesota. So they couldn't start the induction until noon when they finally had enough staff in the hospital. And the next day, 4 in the morning, is when my water broke. And when the water broke, the doctor or the nurse was like, okay, try to get some more rest. Yeah, no. Like when my water broke, my contractions started. I mean, I'd had like slight contractions already, but they went intense really fast. And I had hardcore contractions until it was about 9 in the morning. So I dealt with it for like 5 hours. And finally I was like, and they're like, okay, you are dilating pretty rapidly here. I'm like, okay. And they're like, do you want it? And I did my 3 strikes. They did the epidural, which was perfect because I was able then to go back to sleep for a little while. So I got like 4 or 5 more hours of sleep at, I think, 3 o'clock in the afternoon as I'm watching football, because she was born on a Sunday during football season. As I'm watching football, they come in and they're like, okay, yeah, we're calling the doctor. You're a Nate, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm just chill, right? No big deal. At 3:30, my Dallas Cowboys game starts. So I'm watching my game, and Mac was born a little bit before 4. So literally, she was a total of like intense active labor with 6 pushes. And I didn't tear at all. I can, like they said, don't tell anybody your birthing story. Well, why? Because honestly, I do think 100% it was because I was healthier focused throughout the entire experience of being pregnant. 6 pushes. It didn't take much to get her out, because every time I pushed, they were like, it shocked them. Like they weren't ready for it. They did not have enough staff in the room when she came out. They were kind of freaking out like, oh my gosh, we need more people in here. We need everything. Like they didn't have everything ready because I was able to push her out so fast. So that's my biggest thing. Get strong. It is going to help you in every fucking regard of this experience. In addition, when baby comes, it's also going to help you rebound and recover faster. I was able to get back to working out and getting physical activity in to help battle that mommy belly, to help me get some just stress relief in my life 3 weeks after she was born. So I highly encourage, more than anything else, when it comes to going through the pregnancy, take care of your health, because it's going to pay you back over and over and over in many different ways. Just a couple bonus tips that I was like, yeah, these might be little things I can just add in to make your experience a little bit better too, right? So when you are in the hospital, if you are planning on doing any type of painkillers, maybe an epidural, eat vegetables, eat enough fiber. Make sure you're continuing with your healthy diet even in the hospital, because that way it will help you go, number 2, a little bit easier, because typically those types of medication can kind of back you up. We didn't even need to do any stool softeners or anything like that, because after I had the epidural and after I had baby, at least for me, what my rule was I had to go pee and I had to go poop, and then I was clear to go myself as mom. So, it did help making sure that I was continuing to eat good throughout the experience. And then just a fun bonus tip for any new mom. Something, I don't even remember who shared this with me, but it was super helpful, was pack a little container of coconut oil. And after that baby's born, smear some coconut oil on their tushy, because their first number poo typically is gross and really tar-like. And trying to wipe sticky poo off a newborn's booty, like, that's not a good experience for anybody. Make it easier on everybody by smearing some coconut oil on there so that when you have to wipe their booty, it's just a little bit easier. So with that, there you have it. So focusing on your own health during your pregnancy is not only important for you, it is important for baby. Taking care of your physical, your mental, your emotional well-being. From eating not only for two, but eating actually healthy nutrition set up to baby and your goals, staying active, taking care of that mental health, build that solid support network. There are a lot of things that you can do to make sure you're giving yourself the best chance for a healthier pregnancy, which is going to help you be happier during the experience, but also helping, hopefully, with a happier, healthier baby as well. I hope that my personal tidbits and my insights have been helpful for you. And remember, as you're going through this experience, you are strong and you can do this. Don't forget to join me next time for, of course, more honest but helpful discussions. Thank you for listening. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Ramblings of an Addict with Jenna Dix. Remember, if you are battling an addiction, reach out for help and support. There are many resources available to assist in your journey towards recovery. Surround yourself with a supportive community and never give up on the path towards a healthier and happier life. I appreciate you taking the time to listen and joining me on this journey. As you heard, I'm always rambling. But seriously, thank you for your support and make sure to subscribe and follow my channel. I can't wait to share more with you on the next episode. Until then, keep on rambling. If you have found this podcast helpful and want to dive deeper into personal growth and self-improvement, be sure to head over to my website, jennadix.com. You'll find a wealth of resources there. There is a little less drugs, sex, and rock and roll these days, but whether you're interested in getting healthy, information on momming or parenting, or politics, jennadix.com has something for everyone. So, what are you waiting for? Head to jennadix.com today and start your journey towards personal growth and self-awareness. See you there.